All right, it's Tuesday, March, I think it's the 17th. 6 days post gallbladder surgery, and we are in the midst of the U.S. and the world shutting down, which should be exciting as we discuss this. It feels like we have missed so much. We were going to pick up on so much information through our videos, and it seems like every time I've gone to do a series of videos of 30 days, something health-wise for me has come up. And I told Ron, I said, I'm almost afraid to say, let's pick back up on the 30 days. I'm just going to say, we're just going to do a video every day. And that way we'll ward off any health issues, right? So I was released from the hospital on Thursday. RJ had a dental procedure done on Thursday. And then the bottom with the coronavirus fell out. Places shutting down, restrictions happening. Am I concerned? Well, of course I am, because you know what? I'm flesh and blood. And just because you have faith doesn't mean you don't occasionally have fear. Hey, you know what? If I didn't have fear, then I wouldn't be human, would I? We have to look at things realistically and realize that God understands a certain amount of concern, but He is there to lean on, and that's what we have to keep doing, is going back to Him to lean on. So for today, we're just going to pick up and do a few fun videos. Simeon and Zebulon are going to get a baby out and kind of walk them around. The things haven't gone according to plan with that because Mama's health situations, and everybody's had to pick up and fill positions that they normally don't do. So we're gonna get back to that.
Do you want to go over and see the babies?
I want to see that smile. Hey, here, show me your teeth. Go like, see your bottom teeth. Uh-huh. He had teeth, he didn't want to come out, and now they're just falling out. Hey there, babies. You guys gonna come out and play? Huh? You gonna come out and play? Yeah. Hi. Hi. Okay.
Let's see how much he's eating now.
Hang on. Okay, she's probably had enough. She looks like she's...
Keep walking.
It's following. It's for... I said on my bum teeth, not my wife.
Alright, so I'm going to do some rambling here on this particular video. I'm not sure where I'm going or if I'll go anywhere with it. As I was saying earlier, a lot has happened really since the last videos we put it up, except for the ones when I was in the hospital. And the world as we know it right now has drastically changed. Now, some of us saw it coming. Some of us did not. Some of us agreed with it coming. Some of us do not. And that's why I said in a previous video that it doesn't really matter whether you agree with it or not. It was coming. It's here. We have some changes that are happening, and we have to understand that regardless of our own personal thoughts, that's what we have to deal with. Now, I personally feel, I've been watching this whole thing take place since January. And I feel that this is necessary based on what I've learned. If you don't understand, I hear people say that this is the seasonal flu, but the one thing you have to understand is it's not like the seasonal flu. This is not SARS. This is not the flu. This is a very, very virulent, aggressive virus. And though true, 80% of the people that get it only have mild symptoms, it's the 20% that get it that have more aggressive symptoms. And of the 5% that get it that need intervention through the hospital, and why it's important that we slow this down instead of having this exponential growth, which is technically what that is it's straight line up. Okay, when we get the flu during a regular flu season, a flu R0, and an R0 is how easily a disease is transmitted. Is pretty mild. It's about I think it's 1.5%. But the R0 of this particular virus is extremely aggressive, all right? So which means that in a flu situation, and these are just numbers, these are not the exact numbers, please let me reiterate that, these are not the exact numbers, but these are numbers that I'm giving you an example as. So let's say with the seasonal flu, a person gets the flu, they give it to 1 to 2 people. A person gets the coronavirus, they give it to tens and sometimes hundreds of people. Many of those people are not hardly going to be affected. They're going to have mild symptoms. They are going to recover, okay? Where the problem comes in is because so many more people get it than the seasonal flu. Those that need intervention are increased. All right, so the seasonal flu, our number of hospital beds right now, of ICU beds, have no problem handling those that need intervention with the seasonal flu. I think I heard the number was like 147,000 ICU beds across the U.S. I may have misquoted that, and I heard it a couple weeks ago, but I think that's what it stands at. You multiply that by 10, and that's what, we can look at possibly needing, if not more, with intervention in ICU beds for the coronavirus. Now, many of those will be elderly, many of those will be immune compromised. And obviously you can see how the hospital system could quickly and easily be overrun like it was in China. That is why it's important that we take seriously the need to shelter in place or to start social distancing. Because even if you aren't in a high risk category, chances are somebody is, whether it's your grandparents or a child that has a compromised immunity issue, or a spouse that maybe they have heart problems or diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity. These are all things that put you into a higher risk category. And then if the hospitals are overrun, the staff is overrun, and remember, we have a higher R0, a higher chance of catching this virus, many of the frontline workers in the hospital are going to get it, which means there'll be less hospital workers there. And because they'll be recovering, and if they're not recovering, they're going to be exhausted because the hospitals are going to be overrun. These are all things we have to think about, and people don't think about that, all right? People don't contemplate these things. You could have a gallbladder attack. You could have an emergency surgery, simple as a gallbladder, and if your hospital is overrun, you aren't getting in. If you have a child who gets sick very easily, whether it's pneumonia or other things, and they need some extra help from the hospital, if those hospitals are overrun, they're not going to get in. You have automobile accidents. These are all things that heart attacks, strokes, common things. If our hospitals are overrun because we're dealing with increased coronavirus needs because we haven't done what we're supposed to do, all of us are going to pay in one way or another. It's not going to be just the high-risk category people. It's going to be those that never thought they'd be affected. I'm personally appalled by the complacency of the younger generation that I'm reading stories about. They feel so infringed upon because their bars have been closed, their restaurants have been closed. Besides the set aside the business effects for these people of the owners, I understand their struggle. But for those that just feel like they're infringed upon because they can't go get drunk and they can't go dance and they can't, go out to eat, I find that very selfish, and I find it very, very confirming of how I see this current society. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I feel like. I have an elderly mother. All right, my mother's nearing 80, and I don't want her neighbors to be, I don't want her neighbors to be selfish. I don't want the people that she might come in contact with to be so focused on themselves that they can't think about the people around them. We have to take aggressive steps with this. And again, 80% of the people that get this, it's not going to be a big deal, but you have to look beyond those numbers, and you have to see how quickly this is spreading and how many people will actually get it. And so then you take that percentage that will need the intercession through the hospitals, and you realize that our hospitals aren't geared for this. It all adds up, and it's all something that we honestly have to think about. The panic buying going on, it's going to be an eye-opener for many. It's not going to be an eye-opener for those that are still worried about partying, those that are worried about, going out to get that evening drink or that meal that they don't have to cook, or that they're upset that they can't go to their entertainment or their sports games or their theaters or whatever. As far as I'm concerned, those people live in a really sheltered, self-centered world, and they need a lot more help than what they need a big wake-up call. And if this isn't it, it's going to be very dramatic for them when it does come. So Uh, you know, that's where we're at. For our lives, it doesn't change. You know, we've said it doesn't change our lives a whole lot. It does make certain things different. I just came home from the hospital last week. Yeah, I'm a little concerned. I talked to a lot of nurses, and a lot of nurses saw just a seasonal flu. I had one nurse out of the several that I talked to about it that took it seriously. Her husband was taking it very seriously. He was very concerned about it, and that led her to thinking and stuff. But I had exceptional care. Don't get me wrong, but I was amazed at how little that the medical field that I dealt with really saw it in the light that I have learned, that I've been taking it in from pathologists and infectious disease experts and stuff. It was really it was eye-opening. So and RJ had a dental procedure. He had a big filling done. Had a filling that had to be done the same day I got released from the hospital. So I'm a little edgy here, thinking what are the chances? It's the coronavirus is showing up in our state now. Granted, it's down in the southern part of the state. They really don't have any cases up this far yet, but nonetheless, because people are what we call asymptomatic, and they can be curious without even being showing symptoms at all. But most of this disease is spread through asymptomatic people. And because it doesn't show up for a while, people are carriers, and then, several days later they get sick. But in the meantime, they're out and they're about in their own lives, and they're passing it around. And yeah, I've got a concern. Now, as Christians, here's the deal. We have to, yes, absolutely trust in God. That is first and foremost. Absolutely. And I think that our life, my family's life, says nothing else. We trust in God. But we also have to, when God told Joseph to fill the grain bins, Joseph didn't say, "No, Lord, I don't need to do that because I trust in you." He said, "Okay, Lord, there's a reason you want me to store up 7 years of food. I'm going to do it." There's been lots of instances, we have to be prepared to an extent. We have to have some common sense. There's an old phrase that just because you can be so earthly minded that you're no heavenly good, and the reverse of that is you're so heavenly minded you're no earthly good. We live in the flesh. We have to deal with it. Most of the people that are going to be worried about this stuff aren't Christians. This is a way for us to reach out and encourage and direct people. Don't act in fear, no, but don't act in ignorance either. All right. My having faith in the Lord is not going to change the effect, how contagious this is, how it's going to affect the economy, or how it's going to play out for many people that are going to get it. My faith will not change that. My faith will give me peace. My faith will trust that whatever happens is God's will. But it's just like saying, as a Christian, if I just I light a fire and I throw a match on the floor. Oh, you know what? If the floor catches fire, well then, I still have faith, whatever. We have to be somewhat logical. So, and we have to use wisdom. That's what God gives us. He gives us wisdom. And we have to use that and not be just complacent or foolish. That's what it boils down to. So, those are pretty much my thoughts. And definitely pray, definitely let this be an opportunity for you to evaluate your walk with God. Is it where it needs to be? If it's not, it's a good time to get it there. If it is there, it's an excellent time to keep it there and to seek His peace and wisdom, and to share that peace and wisdom with others. All right. So for us, what we're going to do, we're not going to talk a lot more about the situation as far as what people are or aren't doing, but we are going to talk more. We mentioned it before I had to end up going in the hospital about what to do, how to make this time, well, this is part of faith, taking something that's bad and allowing God to make it good. There's a lot of opportunities for most of us that never get the opportunity to shelter in or to be at home, some time to think things through, some time to take advantage of this opportunity, whether it's to draw your family closer together, whether it's to refocus your own life, whatever. These are some things that we want to talk about and we want to encourage everybody in, and that's what we're going to do over the next few videos. So, all right, well, this video is much longer than I intended, and I need to edit it and get it up, but we will see you guys tomorrow. God bless.